Republicans are finally in the homestretch of passing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act through Congress after months of intense negotiations and legislative work. The Senate voted 51 to 49 late Saturday to proceed with the megabill, kicking off a lengthy procedural process to eventually pass it as soon as Monday if GOP leadership can keep enough Republicans on board. Once the megabill clears the Senate, it will head back to the House, where it needs to pass the lower chamber again before it can land on President Trump's desk for his signature. President Trump and GOP leaders have imposed a deadline to get the bill signed on the 4th of July. However, even the commander-in-chief, who has worked hard to whip his narrow majority into passing the legislation, admitted in a Fox News interview Sunday that timeline may not be possible. The bill does have a hard deadline: the debt ceiling, which is set to be reached in August or September, according to estimates. The bill must be passed by then in order to raise the U.S. government's borrowing limit, currently set at $36.1 trillion. That process is time-consuming and was expected to wrap up sometime by midday Sunday. Notably, Democrats essentially can't stop the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act if Republicans have the votes for it, because the GOP is leveraging the reconciliation process, which allows them to circumvent the 60-vote threshold needed to overcome a filibuster. The reconciliation process is complex and significantly limits the types of legislation Republicans can include in the legislative bundle. However, it does permit the GOP to pass it with a simple majority. Republicans have a 53 to 47 majority in the Senate. Democrats are likely to use all of their time to bash the cuts of Medicaid and green energy subsidies, which Republicans are using to help offset some of the spending. Republicans are expected to use some of their time to tout the bill's accomplishments, like hiring more border agents and funding ICE deportation raids. GOP senators might choose not use their full time in order to expedite the process. While there was a 51 to 49 vote to proceed with consideration of Trump's marquee legislative bundle, that doesn't mean all those Republicans will ultimately back it. In addition to the two who voted against proceeding, Senators Rand Paul, R. Kentucky, and Thom Tillis, R. North Carolina, there are a handful, including as senators Susan Collins, R. Maine, and Lisa Murkowski, R. Alaska, who could turn against it. Their votes may depend on which amendments that get tacked onto the megabill. House Speaker Mike Johnson, R.L.A., has blamed the delays in passing the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act for the GOP's drubbing in the 2018 midterm elections. His thinking is that passing the megabill on a timely basis will boost Republican prospects in the midterm elections.